Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer and today I'm Gamesplaining Orléans. Orléans is a medieval French city. In that city, our job is to get more workers of various types to work for us and then put those workers to work to create more income, revenue and income streams. There are a number of areas of the board that we need to worry about, so I'm going to start with the overarching idea of the game, which is on your own player boards down here. You start with one of each coloured of the different workers in with your own colour on the bottom. These little chits line up with the chits that are along the edge of the board. The way the game plays is you take any of these coloured workers and put them on the matching spaces on the board. So if I put these two here, what will happen is I am able now to use those two workers to add a farmer because I've gone to the farmhouse. So my turn will be place those two, I gain a farmer, all three of those go into the bag, and then on a future turn I will grab more chits out of the bag and place them. So it's a bit of a lucky dip to see what actually comes out of the bag. If I'm looking for more farmers, I'm going to need to create a lot more farmers in the bag so there's a higher chance of them coming out. That is the basic essence of this game. So each on the player board, you'll notice there are different combinations of the colors of workers to create different other types of workers. So let's deal with the bottom part of the board first, which is creating the other workers. Now, the game runs in phases. So on the first phase, we will flip the hourglass card over, which is this one here. This is a way of timekeeping. It will tell you, for the most part, it will tell you what will happen on the last phase of each round. However, the first one is the Pilgrim card, and that basically says that you're not allowed to use this space on your board in this round. There's a couple of those through the deck, so watch out for them. But you'll know what you're working towards and what's going to happen at the end of the round. Once that has happened, everyone will then draw a number of chits out of their bag, which is equal to the number above the red line, which is the knight's line. So at the moment, everyone starts with 4, which is why we start with the 4 chits down on the board already, because everyone only has 4 chits available, so there's no point in drawing them out in the first turn. Once everyone's drawn them out, everyone simultaneously will do this next action. And what you're doing is exactly what I showed you before, selecting what different things you might wish to do. So if you notice, what I've done here is I've set myself up to get another farmer with these two guys, and I've put these two guys up here in the hopes that I'll be able to drag a blue one out of the bag in the next turn. And there's a really high likelihood of that because there will only be 3 in the bag. So it kind of guarantees that I will pull this one back out of the bag in the next turn. So once everyone has done that on their own boards, in player order, each player will do one action. An action looks like exactly what I showed you earlier. I've got a blue and a brown. These have names, but I forget what they are, and while they are thematic, we tend to forget them anyway. So just go with the colours. I'm going to work with colours rather than worrying about the names, which I will forget and get wrong and have to put Jeff Goofed marks in. So those two, blue and brown, create a farmer. So I take the farmer chit and those two guys, put them all 3 in the bag. I also move my marker along one on the farmer or white track. I get the bonus, which is above that track. In this case is some grain. And then the other player will do their action, and then it comes back to me. I don't have any actions that I can actually do because I haven't fulfilled this one entirely. So I would need to pass, and that will keep going until everyone passes. So let me run through what each of these other actions are. I'll do them in order of the board. So if I place white, blue, and brown on this bottom one, that enables me to grab one of the 3 villager tiles. So the brown one, I think that's the boatman. When I move my marker along that track, I will take one of these innovation tiles. What that does is I now select, or at the end of the drafting phase, once everyone has passed, I'll then select one of the spaces on my board and place it there, which means that now for me to actually activate the castle, for where I've put this, I will only need a white and a black chit rather than needing the blue chit. That one will always stay there, and the other ones will come off. If I chose to take one of the black markers, I would once again move along the line, and notice the bonus up here is the Roman numeral I or 1, and then above the other ones is 1 or 2. What that is referring to are these cards up here. So if I grab just the top one of the level 1, this is giving me an extra space that I'm able to use. So if I took that one, I would place it next to my board, and suddenly I have another space where I'm able to send workers, and in this case I'd send a black and a white worker and pick up a bottle of wine from my winery. So that opens up your options for what you're able to get by moving along that track. If you move along the blue track by 1, you will just get 2 monies, as well as taking obviously the blue chit. Remember, you take the black if you move along the black, brown if you move along the brown. So those ones go into your bag when you take them and move along their track. The next one is the castle, where we pick up a knight. When you take one of these knight chits, you move along the line, and now I'm able to place 5 different chits along the bottom here in order to be able to then place up into my board. Now, you noticed earlier I put these 2 guys up here, even though I couldn't actually action the castle. By doing that, I've opened up the space to be able to bring more chits in. So it's worthwhile not leaving too many down the bottom there. If you know how many you've got in your bag, then come up to the maximum, and this is the line. So the number 5 tells you how far to go. And finally, the other one is down here at the university, which is brown, white, and black. When you do that, you'll take a grey. They all obviously go into your bag, just like all the others. Move along that track, and what that allows you to do is move along this bottom track. Why is that bottom track important? Well, firstly, there's a couple of bonuses. So the first person to cross over the space that has this guy on it takes that as a bonus, which helps you with the end of the game, and I'll tell you about them in a little while. When you pass each of these stars, that is a multiplier at the end of the game, and also there's a couple of cards in here which you get income for whichever one of them you've passed. When you get up to this spot here, there's a 3 with monies, so you would take 3 monies as a bonus when you go onto or past that space. So on the first one, you're going to move 2 along the track. On the second one, you'll move 3 along the track, 4, 5, and 6. Oh, I did just miss one. In the basic maneuvers, you're not allowed to do this in the first turn, but by putting a grey and a black here, that allows you to grab one of the monk chits. Monk chits are great because they count as being any colour. So they're basically a wild card for when you bring them out. So you could use them anywhere you like. That's the basic bag building element of the game. So you're going to keep doing that and putting more and more of these different coloured workers into your bag as we go. Now, let's move across to the right-hand side of the board. This is the city area, or the area that showed the map that shows you all of the different cities. You'll notice that some of the ways to get between cities are via road, some of them are via boat. So if you wish to move from one city to the other, you're going to need to put in the appropriate chits at the top of your board, white, blue, and red to go via boat, or white, red, and black to go via wagon. So once you've actioned that, you'll then move your guy along a road or a waterway if you've gone by ship, and you'll pick up the resource that you travelled over when you went there. If you're playing a 3 or 4 player game, some of the roads may have, or waterways may have 2 resource tokens on them. You will only pick one of them up when you do that maneuver. The third spot at the top here is the guild halls. These are really important. This is where you go so that you can place these little Monopoly style house pieces. They're called guild halls. So once again, white, brown and yellow to place a guild hall, and you will place it on the city where you are currently standing. With the only exception of Orléans, every city on the map is only allowed to hold 1 guild hall. Orléans can hold a guild hall from every player if necessary. Why is that important? Well, I've covered the 3 things now. At the end of the game, one of the major areas of points is guild halls plus the number of these little markers that you have multiplied by whichever of these star numbers you have passed is your points. So if I had one guild hall, one of these guys, and my scholar track was up to here, I would have 2 multiplied by 2, that's worth 4 points. Other things that are going to get you points at the end of the game are the resources and money. Money is worth 1 point each for each money buck dollar that you've got, and then that's worth 1 point. That's for the grain, 1 point. Cheese is worth 2 points. Wine is worth 3 points. The wool is worth 4 points, and the brocade is worth 5 points. That is almost everything that goes into this game and what you're going to move your way through. There's only 2 other spaces on your board that we need to worry about. One of them is scriptorium, and by putting both a red and grey chit there, you get to move 1 further along the bottom tract, also known as the scriptorium. The only other spot I haven't touched is the town hall. Now the town hall is a really cool spot because you put 2 on there. You're not allowed to put your own personal chits, the one with your colour at the bottom, onto the town hall space, because what's going to happen is when it comes to your turn, you'll take both of those and put them over onto this board. Now when I put them on this board, they could go on any of the spots. You'll take the bonus. So putting 1 here will give me 2 money bucks, and putting 1 down here will give me 1 money buck. And that will continue to grow until someone places the last one in any of these sections, at which point they will take the citizen tile. Once you've resolved your action, so resolving the action is putting these tokens back in and taking your extra worker into the bag, you'll resolve the event, which happens on that hourglass pile, and then you just move the start player marker 1 player to the left so that there is a start player. The start player has very little to do with the game except for when you're racing for one of these markers, or you're trying to get a specific resource out of a road or a boatway, or over in the town hall, it can affect who is the last person to put down a worker. And when you do activate the town hall, you put both of your workers in at the same time. So in that case, if you're using the town hall, it may actually be beneficial to be the last player rather than the first player, because other players will fill up a space, and then you can go and grab the citizen tile from taking the last spot in that space. Or it may prevent you from using one. So that kind of player order is important, but for the most part with these, it's only important when you're getting down to the last chit, because that will, once these are gone, you can't do them anymore. Or at least you can still do the action and move along the road, but you're not going to get the worker into your bag if there's none left. I hope that helps you get Orléans to the table. I hope that you get many hours of enjoyment out of this game. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be Gamesplaned, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter to see what games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm Gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.